What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, here for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. Can you feel it in the air, everybody? Can you feel it? West going for that three-peat coming up. That quest, it's already started in the weight room, but the pads and everything start on Monday, the 22nd. I'm so excited. We're just a few days away. Going to talk a little bit about that. Shout out to the 94 district tournament champion Rebel baseball team being honored tonight. 30 years ago. Unfortunately, our current baseball Rebels couldn't get it done against Bearden. They lost 5-0, but still, I hope a lot of them showed up tonight and got honored. And it was a decent crowd despite the weather kind of being iffy. I'm just glad they were able to still do it. And shout out to Coach Lindsay and all the players that played on that and so forth. So, my co-host is going to be joining me here on camera shortly. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk a little spring football, as I mentioned, but we're also going to talk some NBA playoffs. He's going to give you the matchups and who we think will probably win. It's so interesting about the NBA playoffs from a standpoint that, you have a 7-game series or 5 games, whatever it is. And unlike the NCAA tournament, you better bring it one game because it's decided in one game. And you can have an off night in a big series, and it really shows over a testament of who the better team is in one of those series. And then sometimes people just no-show and want to go fishing early. But anyway, first and foremost, though, I want to let everybody know that the views and opinions of this program are those of me and Two Pair. They are not of West High School or any other organization. So just keep that in mind. These are just our thoughts. So love me, though, everybody that's affiliated with West High School and so forth. Also want to give a shout out to my gal, Miss Kim Castle over at King's Chamber. Give her a phone call, schedule an appointment, go get your hair and a beard trim. She's going to be opening up here in a couple of weeks officially to do all the other stuff she offers. So definitely give her a shout there and pay her a visit. Also got to give a shout out to my guy, Alex Thatcher, there in the heart of Marble City, Knoxville Coffee Company. Get you a good brew anytime in the morning or at night or in the afternoon, even get you something to go out at night and so forth. So that's the one thing that I'd like everybody to go on ahead and give them some business and go from there more than anything. So, but without further ado, I do want to go on ahead, and my co-host is coming on camera here very shortly, and I want to give him the proper respect that we do always. He has so much knowledge and has so much love. He's a true rebel with a cause, and that's what this show is all about. And tonight, anybody that's in this comment box, bring up what you want to talk about when we are talking about NBA or when we are talking about this Rebels team coming up, the defending back-to-back champs, so to speak. So, but without further ado, I want to bring him on. He is my co-host, my brother. He is the Mr. 2003 West, and he will never live that down. I will always have that big. I wish I had that mantra, but that's his. He is the voice of the Rebels for 18 plus years, and we've got an exciting announcement that I'm not going to steal his thunder because it's his team that he announces for. I know he's super excited and a good future for the direction of a certain program he's going to talk about. But wherever you're at, whether it's in Mechanicsville or off of Sutherland Avenue there in Marble City, or if it's off of Kingston Pike in the Bearden Hill area, Sequoia Hills, Westmoreland, over even in Carnes and West Knoxville, anywhere in East Tennessee that are Rebels with a cause, give a shout out, throw some love, give it up for the one, the only Two-Pair Tate, Brian Tate. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? What's going on? Glad to be here.
Yeah, if I know you well, you're like me, keeping an eye on that Miami Heat game right now, just to see if we can get that 7 seed and not leave it
Yeah,
up to chance.
yeah.
So
I got the Lyricist Lounge tonight at like 10:30. So we got a lot to really talk about and hit on the head. man, like I'm getting excited for spring football. Um, I
Shane
want
McGee in the house.
to shout out to my man Shane McGee. I want to say that West made a big hire as far as what they want this program to be, and I think hiring Cody Graves is a big hire because you look at what he's done on the middle school level. He just won a tournament over here at the convention center for the spring fling tournament
Mm-hmm.
going on. I can't. I don't know the name of it. There was the tournament was, but it was over at the convention center. A lot of teams played in it, and for him to win in certain age groups, and I think one thing with hiring a young guy like this is there's been a disconnect between like the faculty, the parent, like nobody's really fully bought into the women's program. And it showed when they struggled. And these aren't like close basketball games. These are bad basketball games. It was a very bad product to watch, to announce. It's very tough because it's kids at the end of the day. And when it looked like there was no structure and the assistant coach really, you know what I'm saying, you don't allow him, you know what I'm saying, to really coach the team or be vital to the squad. I felt like a lot of times like we didn't get to see if Tate could make some changes, like Tate Reddick, who's
Mm-hmm.
back as an assistant. And I feel like that was the move. I think you need to have Tate and Cody both coach. I think with Summer, and no disrespect to Summer Dalton, but I mean it was a tough job. Like one game in what 2 years?
Yeah, it's the opposite of the West football team. If West's football team's only lost one game in 2 years, they only had won one game in 2 years and played three times the amount of games. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
it
terrible. So,
it was very tough to watch.
yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah.
yeah, he was the Bearden Middle School coach Shane, and I thought he did a unbelievable job just over there creating that culture because Bearden Middle School has always been good in basketball. Like if you know Bearden Middle, that's what we do. We're good in middle school basketball. Like Shane can tell you from the time we were in sixth grade, from the time that we were in fifth grade, even in elementary school. Um, Bearded Middle has always been good in basketball. Like my time frame in my lifetime, like there, it just was always a school where you'd had different schools going to it. Like you had the kids from Maynard, you had the kids from West Haven who didn't go to Northwest. You had the West Hills kids. You had the Sutherland Avenue kids that were going strictly to Bearden. Um, I just really think, man, this was a great hire. They thought about it, but you could kind of see it happening because he was at every single one of the girls' games this year,
Hmm.
like pinpointing things that you could probably see him doing as a coach if he gets the chance to come at West. And I think it's a big hire. I think it's a huge hire right now. Like,
He probably was seeing the same things you and I talked about. What's the identity of this program? Are you playing man to man? Are you playing zone? Do you have set plays? I mean, and I'm sure he had ideas, and I'm giddy to think about. Um, I know it's not going to be an overnight thing, but like you
right,
requested, patience and people to buy in. You know, when we talk about the football team, I'm going to drop some stats on the audience to know what type of a job Lamar Brown did have to do to get to this point. It wasn't overnight. Those first 2 years were really rough for the football program. But what I would just like is that the girls are competitive in these games. Maybe you steal one here and there and so forth, but get the players that really want to buy in, that want to get better, and be able to play 32 minutes of basketball because it seemed by after the second quarter we were gassed, and we really didn't have the depth. I mean, you saw almost the same 5 to 7 girls playing, and other teams are well deep into their benches playing JV and freshman girls that are good enough to play varsity at that level. So
Yeah, it's like I think the revelation though came, James, when we were playing Farragut, and one of the Van Acker kids came off the bench and scored.
mm-hmm.
Lily Mullins scored. Like they were having their bench players have some of their best games against
Oh,
our
licking their chops to get in there, licking their chops to get in there. And Farragut was a great team. You know, they got the sub-state, the girls team, and beat Bearden's girls. You know, and stuff. But seriously though, it was not competitive, and it shouldn't be that way. Not at the resources of the schools. It shouldn't be that off balance or what have you, up here and down here type of a thing. So yeah.
it was really sad, man, just watching. You know what I'm saying? It was tough to watch a lot of times because you just you, it's not losing. It was to the point like how much am I gonna lose mine now? Like
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? It was tough, and you try to be positive, but
Yeah, yeah.
they went into a lot of situations overmatched, underprepared.
Hmm. Look into the bench for answers, and no answers were given.
No answers were given, and like I felt like they weren't fundamentally sound. I feel like you got to go right back to the basics, and I think Cody's gonna have to rebuild this whole thing, and he's got to get
Mhm.
everybody to buy in because if you don't get the faculty to buy in, you don't get the parents to buy in, it's gonna be that same old story with this women's program, and
Mhm.
it never was like that years before.
The one thing that I have a lot of faith in is I know if I know how it went down, obviously this young man has, his credibility speaks for himself at the middle school. Um, I don't know if he's going to stay at Beard Middle School in a teaching role or if he's going to come to the high school and be in the building. I would love for him to be in the building. That way he's always there and you have a little bit of a rapport. I don't know what Summer Dalton's job, if she was a teacher there at West or not. I can't even pretend to speak on the matter. However, I think that that's big that you're there and available for your players at all time and you can keep tabs on things. That's number one. Number two, in Romero, Spees, and Carruthers, I trust because if you have those three's input into an athletic program, and let's be real, all the athletic programs are competitive. And this was the one that was not competitive. Okay. And so I trust their judgment to give this young man a chance. And like Shane said, I agree with this. This should be a good hire since Bearden is a big feeder program into West, Bearden Middle, and he does have that relationship already with players and the students and can change the program. Exactly. And the resources are there. I mean, you've got weight room, you've got the track, the facilities to run and become very well conditioned. And you've got the support there from the booster program. You do. I mean, that gym is gorgeous inside their big screen. I mean, I don't see many gyms that put on the show that you do, to Pair, when you announce the games and make sure that the music's hot. I mean, it's a fun atmosphere to come to. And now it's not just going to be fun about 6:45. It can be fun at 5:45 getting ready for a nice 4 hours there and so forth. And I'm excited about it come winter time and the spring and so or the late fall, early winter. So when
Yeah,
basketball comes
I,
around.
I really I really want to I really want to see what they have planned because I think Malia Queener, if somebody works with Malia Queener, I think she could be an all district type player. Um, it's like I just realized how vital Imani Harden was for her junior and senior year watching these last teams because when Imani was there, she at least gave you the hope that we were gonna compete when she was at the point guard position. You know, she
And
was
then teams probably keyed in on her and There
And
was
I
nobody
went
really.
to class of 2023. She was class of 2023, graduated year before. So when I started looking at this team, is like there is no point guard, there is no direction, this is bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just was. I watched girls for 4 years not get better. Like it looked to the point as if like what is going on in practice because you guys care way more about the music being played. It was like I seen a girl not get better, like never. It just like it got to the point. Well, it ain't really too hard to make this basketball team if you're not getting better.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a bad sign.
What about coming out of halftime and you're down, 30,
Yep.
35 points, and nobody's even doing layup drills or warming up or shooting. They're just sitting on the bench like, hey, let's just get this over with. And I hated seeing that. I really did. So yeah, I mean,
Well, and when you say that, it gets really bad because how? Like, how does that happen? How do you come out of a game in a situation like that and you're just not prepared? Like,
yeah.
so
It was sad, and the great thing too, Pair. You mentioned something. It may not be overnight. Got to be patient. Everybody's got to buy in. The best part about it, they got nowhere else to go but up. I mean, one game in 2 years. Hell, if you win two, that's two more than this year. So anything is a victory in that regard. And I want the kids to have fun out there. I want these girls to have fun out there. Same with the boys team. If it's not fun, then what's the point? Then what's the point? It's still a
my,
game at the end of the
my
day.
thing is, my thing is, I don't think I ever played a basketball season where I didn't win over 15 plus games. Like I don't think I ever had a basketball season like that where I didn't win at least 15 games,
Mm-hmm.
at least close to that.
Yeah.
I mean, far as the beginning of high school, like from just playing, like unless it was summer league basketball, where
Mm-hmm.
the the games are a little bit shorter, like the months, you should be able to win at least 10 to 12 basketball games,
Easily,
like
easily.
10 to 12.
Especially if you're playing some teams from lower classifications. You are on the highest classification of 4A now, and when you're playing a team from 2A and they're still beating you, that's a problem. That really
That's
is.
a problem. Like that's a huge problem. Like, and that's why I want them to really. I want people to be really patient
Mm-hmm.
because it's not going to be an overnight sensation. Like it could take possibly two to two to 2 to 3 years to
Mm-hmm.
like to get the players that he wants to coach and how he coaches. That's where we at because like football is such at an all time high
Yeah.
that it kind of overshadows a lot of the programs just because it is what it is. Like the football program, at one time it used to be the tennis program. At one time you see what I'm saying? Like
Cross country,
cross
golf. Yep.
country
Swimming. Yeah.
track.
Track.
We were
Yeah.
the track school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
We
I'm saying?
were.
We've been we've been the track school, we've been the tennis school. But when you're the football school, you get
And that's what pays for the other programs
it
too.
pays for other programs.
Yeah.
Football pays for the other programs. And I felt like, just to me, what women's basketball team have you ever seen that got the privileges they got and didn't win a game?
Can't think of them. Can't think of one. You bring up something really interesting in the chat box. Please bring it. The Heat
Privileged,
watching. Yeah.
privileged,
Yeah.
very privileged.
Yeah. Yeah.
to not get better, James, not like they thought they were gonna be better in they sleep,
Yeah. Not put the work in. Yeah.
not put the work in. Like I don't know what type of work that was, but it just wasn't the work.
It wasn't.
It
No.
wasn't.
And you bring up something that I really want to touch on. And I know that we are a little limited on time, but I think you brought
No,
up something
we
huge.
got to. We got an hour and 30. We can do an hour
We,
and 30.
we do. Okay. Um,
We can do about an hour. Yeah.
I, I love what you said. Is this football program so dominant right now? There's a pressure with the other sports. It's like nobody cares about us. That's not true. That's not true.
We would
Uh,
not be doing this if we
yeah,
didn't care.
yeah.
We're that
And
passionate about caring. It's like,
mhm,
look, we're the adults here,
yeah,
right? So we're speaking to you from an adult perspective to understand why we put so much emphasis on being a student athlete at West High School, because we've seen the fruits of what that reward is on the other side. So we're giving it to you like you don't understand the opportunity you have to put that W on, to go to that school. Like for me in my life, West High School has provided me to do stuff at the University of Tennessee. They've provided me. I've got my own night spot on Wednesday nights at the Brickyard. That
mhm,
I'm gonna be there after we do this. So
yeah,
that's what that community, they've invested in me. I gotta invest in it back. So I'm investing in it back by giving that stern talk. We're like the scared straight for the kids. That's
yeah.
what we are. Like,
And you look at someone like me too that got kicked out, and West and Ken Green gave this guy a second chance, and I was not going to waste that second chance. And that's why, like, look, if I maybe, Michael Lynn, I love Michael Lynn to death. He's probably watching, but he always says, James, you share way too much sometimes. I'm an open book. What can I say? I wear my heart on my sleeve. It's that rebel heart. But when I walk into that stadium, and of course I walk a different way in now, but I always pay tribute to that rock, and I kiss that rock and I point to the sky because that was my second chance. 25 years ago, 25 years ago, this guy got kicked out and got a second chance,
mhm.
to go to West. And I love that school. That school gave me this opportunity. And if I can have this platform to share, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, the stories, if you go back and listen to what Big O dealt with the basketball team back then,
Mhm.
or the guys that we've had, Big Troy, TJ, Michael, Terry, they will tell you the football team wasn't always peaches and roses like it is now and so forth. And,
No,
it takes work. It takes everybody to buy in, a good coaching staff, administration. And we didn't have that administration back then. If we had this administration back then, I think that those coaches would have been given the resources to be successful. Old Debbie Jones, Rogers or Wilson, Coach Lindsay in basketball and baseball, and Coach Lindsay may not say it out loud, maybe he will, but he's told me that Barbara Jenkins, man, she was a real peach as a principal at our school and so forth, and those were our primary years. I mean, I think if Ken Green would have stayed, look how good Oak Ridge did when Ken Green went over there,
yeah,
honestly. So
we had a rough time. Like our school was a diverse school, and there's things about the school she didn't understand because she was a beard and
she
like
was Bearden. She didn't know West. I mean, and to look at the teachers at West that are now big time in the AJ building making decisions. They're all principals themselves, probably running good schools because they know what it takes to be good.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's just wild, man. Like to see where West is now, and when I've got like West kids who come up to me, and it's crazy now because we're in that stage of life where you're giving back and you want to give that student athlete some jewels of wisdom that you wish somebody told you when you were at West. and I did. I had a few guys that were really impactful, but I feel like it's very necessary to speak the truth about what we saw on the court and what we saw as a product and a representation of our school. That's it.
That's it.
It's like I'm not talking bad about anybody. It's being honest, coming to the forefront as a human being to acknowledge that we were not as prepared as other teams were to play against us. We did not communicate as a basketball team to be successful to win the game. So, therefore, what I'm saying is valid because I'm watching for 4 quarters. 4 quarters, 8 minutes, correct? 8 minutes.
Mhm.
Four,
8 minutes times 4, 32 minutes a whole game. Yeah.
yeah. So for 32 minutes, I've seen what bad basketball looked like. That's why I'm removing myself as the 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 fan and saying, okay, look, they got to build this all the way from the bottom. They got to be fundamentally sound before they can even win a basketball game.
Hmm.
And I want to see a coach's imprint. I want to see the mark of the team because with Coach Lindsay, we we had an identity of we're gonna play sound basketball. It's gonna be motion. We're gonna run wheel. You know, it's space in Florence, Maryland. Um, like I had to learn how to play team basketball,
Not ISO. Yeah.
not ISO. Like I had to learn the structure and the system of how it was played, and I didn't understand it until after my freshman year. And once I understood the system, it was like I could watch a Stuart Oaks play and kind of do what he did in a different way. Like I wasn't. I don't think I was as good as Stuart Oaks ever. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. Like
Hmm.
I was really good. I just I just like to do other things. Like it just. But one thing I noticed with their team is if you don't have an identity or even a signature win, there's not where's the team go?
Hmm. It's true.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
true. And to even get one win would have been nice for him.
What
Just
is
anything. So yeah, for sure,
anything?
anything. I just wanted to let you. Shane had two great comments I wanted to highlight. We were definitely the track school back in our day. Yep, had two All-State people, Sean Stevens and then Dusty Miller. And she, referring to Barbara Jenkins, wanted us to be BHS, but there can only be one West. That is probably the most honest, badass statement I've heard, Shane. That's awesome, man. That's
Mm,
true. Is the truth. They're two different schools. They are two different schools. Okay, just like Farragut and Bearden are two different schools as well.
right.
So that's what makes us all unique. Um, you know, to transition a little bit from this girls basketball team, and I wish I hope Tate and Graves tear it up. Honestly,
I think I think
grave digger, the grave digger. That's what I'm gonna. That's what I like the mantra, honestly, and hopefully we can be the place where all other teams. Hopes are dashed there at the gym, at the Rebel Rowdy gym there in Marble City. Just like the football team does
mhm.
at 3300 Sutherland Avenue. So, but too, pair. There's some excitement in the air, man. There is some excitement in the air. We've got spring football starting next Monday. Just to give a little bit of background for everybody, I don't know how they're going to stagger the practices, but the window was that they were going to have spring ball the 22nd through May 9th. I wonder if they're going to have some days built in because of possible bad weather. Maybe they're not going to be doing Fridays. They're just going to be doing that Monday through Thursday deal. But I do know that spring practice will wrap up with a scrimmage. Hopefully, weather works out on May the 10th, Friday at Gibbs. So that's what's going to happen with the spring practice. Um, Something really interesting. And like I said, I want the chat box, anybody watching, to chime in what you're excited about. Um, I've got some players that are coming back from last year's team that I look to see how they step up now that they're the guy. Because, as much as we've talked about the Lathams, Jaquarius Wren, we've talked about Hunter Dance, we've talked about um, uh, uh, Marshawn Bowers, Ryan Scott, CJ Smith, Anderson Smith. I can go on and on and on about these guys. They're not here anymore. This is your story now. And you have helped contribute big time and have gotten game experience. Well, now you guys are the dudes. And what have you done these 4 months in the weight room and in your conditioning to get ready to start your title defense and to make history? Because, Two Pair, I don't know if you knew this or the audience at home, there has never been a champion in 5A that's won 3 in a row. We've had back to back, but we have never had 3 in a row at the 5A level since 5A was established in 1993. And in 2007 or 8, I believe, is when 6A became the highest classification, not counting the private schools. So West is now in kind of uncharted territory that, as I've mentioned before, not since October 18th, 2019, have they dropped a 5A regular season game. Not since 2021, in November in the playoffs, have they lost to a 5A team. And again, that was Walter Nolan and Powell with all those guys. Not to say Powell doesn't have talent now, but you don't have the number one player in the country on your defensive line, and you have to game plan for that dude. My point is this: we are the man until one of these 5A teams prove that they can beat us. Lamar Brown, in 7 seasons at West, is 75-20 as a head coach. In the last 5 seasons, West is 64-8. In the last 2 seasons, West is 29-1. And the one was against Alcoa, who's won 8 or 9 titles in a row at the 3A level, and you were missing some key dudes in that game. Again, you play with what you got, but West did what they could in that game, and that game propelled us of what it took to win a championship, and we became better after that game and the Anderson County game. That being said, the question on everybody's mind is who's going to be the quarterback for West. West has also done something very interesting in these last 2 years. We've had 2 different quarterbacks: Carson Jesse and the 15-0 team, Ashley Spee's son, and of course Hunter Dance came in last year, did it again. And now you're going to have a 3rd different quarterback. The question is, who's going to be the quarterback? And if you read, shout out to Jesse Smithy and 5-Star Preps, they interviewed Coach Brown, and Coach Brown gave his thoughts on he has 4 quarterbacks he can choose from. He says that his 4 quarterbacks, he's fine with any of them leading this offense, and that this is the deepest quarterback room he's had in his 7 years at West. So this is huge stuff right here. Obviously, the guy that's gotten the most action of the players involved is Parker Dubon, a 5'11", 180-pound senior. He is currently playing baseball, so he won't be available this for the spring practice. However, he has the most game reps. A young man who didn't get much playing time last year because he was injured, Cannon Dowd, a rising junior, 5'11", 175. He's in the mix. The quarterback that was the freshman quarterback all year last year, and I heard some good things about, who's a sophomore, rising sophomore, Jack Harrison, 5'10", 175. And another sophomore is vying for the quarterback job, Ian Crook. I don't know much about him. He's 6 foot, 160 pounds. But Lamar said that the According to the article, and this is not any breaking news, if you have 5-star preps, you can read that this is straight from coach's mouth, that Parker's probably a little bit ahead athletically than some of these players. The other players going for the job, but he trusts them all to know what needs to be done, and they will definitely have a great offensive line in front of them, returning 4 guys out of a 6-man rotation from last year, have probably quality backs to run the rock, and a plethora of ball catchers, either at the tight end or receiver position, that will catch the ball and make plays if the ball is put there. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see who is the guy. And realistically, may the best man win. May the best man win, and it starts on Monday. And again, they have a task in front of them to carry the mantra and see what they can do more than anything. So, that being said, Two Pair, what are your thoughts on this? On what Coach Brown mentioned in the 5-star preps article about these 4 young men who will be the next quarterback for the West High Rebels this upcoming season. I think you're on mute. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that it's really big when you got 4 quarterbacks that you feel comfortable in the rotation and in that room that could be the main signal caller. I would say it should be Dubon. Is it Parker? Yeah, I feel like it should be his job to lose, which I feel like Cannon Dowd could make some noise, because I feel like they could be interchangeable, just because depending on how good West looks, that who's gonna be those playmakers? Like the big playmaker is Burdine. Like that's the name you will be hearing all year long is Mr. Burdine. You're gonna be hearing that name. Like they're gonna be off to the races when they get the ball to Burdine. Like Burdine is a playmaker, man. He's exceptional. But like you were saying, I feel like Coach Brown is, hella confident, as he should be. I mean, look at the records. Like, what more can we say?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I'm glad you brought up Burdine, because there's 2 guys that I'm looking to that are going to be your playmakers on the offense and defensive side of the ball. And here's the thing. It's not that I'm discrediting anybody else. Anybody else, please, step up and make your name for yourself. This is going to be your platform to do it. But I'm curious of where Burdine is really going to shine, because he's shown he can be a force on defense, intercepting the ball. He's shown he can return punts back for touchdowns. He's shown he can catch touchdowns on the receiver end. So you've got your 6-horde replacement right there. The issue is how many reps are you going to give him that he can last all season long, and that's going to be a lot of minutes out there at those different different teams. And then on the defensive side of the ball, it's got to be Wyatt DeRoche. I mean, just an animal up front. And it's going to be very interesting how offensive lines deal with West's defensive line. Obviously, Mohammed and Joey Wilson, and of course the great CJ Smith are graduating. But the thing is Wyatt DeRoche made a name for himself there. And if you can find a couple of defensive ends to fill that spot, I'm looking right off the bat at Bryson Crawford and Nalaja Dickey, 2 rising juniors with good size, each about 6 foot, 185 pounds. And they could be really good forces at the defensive end. It's unproven. Another guy that got a lot of burn last year at defensive tackle, but he got hurt, was Cameron Leggett, who's going to be a rising senior, 6 foot, 245 pounds. So, there's always going to be guys. It's just about plugging them in and seeing what they bring like an animal to this fold. And those two guys right off the bat being seniors, Antoine Burdine and as well as Wyatt DeRoche. It starts there as your two guys that are your seniors to keep this thing going, because all they've done is win. Not to sound cliche.
DeRoche.
DeRoche.
DeRoche. DeRoche. DeRoche. DeRoche.
Two other guys that I'm excited to see. One of them made some plays throughout the year, but I really think he's going to step up this year as a senior himself, as number 5, David Drada. I don't know if he's going to keep that number, but I look for him to be a playmaker this year as well in his senior year. And a guy that was hurt for a lot of the year last year that has great size. I mean, I haven't seen a West receiver this big in a while is Corey Person, 6'3", 158 pounds. He was injured last year and came back at the end, but really didn't get the playing time in the big game situation. And I'm intrigued to see if he's available to show what he can do. And he's also going to be a rising senior. So there was a lot of talent in that junior class that's going to be seniors this year, but it's a lot of unproven talent too, Pair.
Yeah, that junior class is pretty loaded though, man.
They are.
Drada will be a senior this year, right?
Yeah. So he would have been the junior class last year. So so this senior class. So anybody that you see that was a junior last year, if they're still on the team, would be a senior.
Ooh, Birdon Drada, that is a nasty class.
Yeah. Look at the defensive side of the ball too. I mean, you still got Antarius McAllister. He's been getting some offers. He's going to be your safety, your hard-hitting safety, and the guy that won't let anything get behind him. I like Dominic Davis, who was a force at tight end. He's a big dude. So
I like my dude Jack Keefe, man. I think.
Oh yeah.
He brings his toughness to basketball. Like that's what I love about Jack Keefe. Jack Keefe brings his toughness right back to basketball. Like he's one of the tougher players. I love Jack Keefe. What about Riley Manning?
Oh, I'm glad you brought him up, by the way. He was the guy that really locked down that right side at cornerback, and he just got better and better as the season went on, and they trusted him more. And because of that trust, they were able to focus Connor Cummings on the receiver end and so forth. So Connor didn't have to play both ways. So Riley Manning, I mean, let me just tell you this. The DBs for West, if it is Antarius McAllister, Antoine Burdine, Abel Ancelot, and Riley Manning, you can just forget about it because even Abel Ancelot, yeah, that's locked down.
Fly zone.
That's a no-fly zone, baby.
No fly zone.
Yeah. And Abel is going to be a junior. He was a sophomore last year, got a lot of playing time. Look also at Tyson Butler. Tyson Butler from the Butler and Bailey store family. He's also going to be a rising senior. He can play receiver or cornerback as well, and even got a big interception against Heritage that he almost housed last year. So just a plethora of talent there. Another name, he's a sophomore, going to be a junior that got a lot of playing time, Sam Lavelle. His brother Jack just graduated, but Sam Lavelle played a lot in absence of guys when they were out, specifically when Bryson Leva was out. So he's got game time experience. Tavion Ray, who I think is going to be the starter at tailback, he's a rising senior, big size. He filled in nicely when Marshawn was out, 6'1", 188. So, yeah, for sure. So, hey, Big Troy's on. 2 pair Big Troy's on. His question, what makes this team different from the others, is that we'll be playing with something to prove, and they know what it feels like to win. I agree with that. That is 100% accurate. So, yeah.
And being able to do something that no no school is done like for this class of the region, and that would be
Yeah, my bad. I read that wrong. My bad.
oh, that's not a question.
It is a statement. Yeah.
He said that's not a question.
Yeah.
But I just feel like them being able to do something that no school has done, and with the amount of talent, I thought Bernard was a playmaker last year. Just
Oh,
from
a
what
guy
I
that got
watched,
better week by week.
from what I watched on some of the games that were televised, like these dudes, there's some dudes. Like I like young Jack Keith because that same tenacity that he played with at the linebacker spot, he brings on the basketball court. I just love that about him, man. That's one of my favorite kids at West. He's a really good dude. Really.
108 tackles last year, by the way. Next to the great Ryan Scott, who had 170 something himself. Like that's just sick right there in the middle, honestly. So, because West plays a 3-4 in defense. So, yeah. Um, Speaking of linebackers, you lose Anderson Smith and Ryan Scott, and they were some special kids. But I'm going to tell you this: the linebacker core is not devoid of talent because, as you mentioned, Jack Keith and we mentioned Sam Lavelle. Philip Fulmer's grandson is on the team, by the way, J.P. Peace. He was a freshman last year, one of three that were on varsity.
Hmm.
Got a little bit of playing time in the Heritage game, but he is a big boy like his father, Robert Peace, who was a linebacker at Tennessee in the early 2000s. And Ola JP is 6'2", 180 pounds. And that was last year's roster, so I'm sure he's put on some more weight. So I'm really, really intrigued with him at the linebacker position, or maybe they move him because he's so big to maybe defensive end. Not sure what they want to do with him there. Another couple of kids that I'm really looking forward to seeing how they step up, who got playing time last year, was Davis Neely, a 6'1", 173-pound linebacker who's going to be a junior, and also Kaywood Rose, who is a sophomore rising junior, 6'2", 180 pounds. So it's going to be very interesting to see those guys at linebacker as well. So, yeah. Having a winning mentality and winning atmosphere is next level. Can you imagine what school is going to be like next fall, bruh? Dude, it's fun. Those games. That's why, Troy, if you're ever in town, you've got to come to a home game because it's different. I mean, the atmosphere is incredible for a game. Even like I always tend to get there an hour before kickoff, and they start at 7 now, and it's. I'm on the fence about it because great, it ends a little bit earlier, but they moved them to 7 o'clock because of COVID. And COVID and those restrictions are long gone. And I know it's hard for some parents to get there at 7, by 7 o'clock. You see people coming in at 7:30 and so forth. I know playoffs was always 7 o'clock, but I get there at 6, and just the atmosphere is just awesome. The music playing, and it really, really fun place to watch a game under those Friday night lights, honestly. So if you're ever in town or can make it over here, we will definitely make sure that you get a great seat and enjoy the whole thing and so forth. So you all need to have the head coach or some returning players on the show. I'd love to do it. Again, I don't want to comes to coach because he gives me so much stuff, and I'm not going to ever violate his trust, but I'm sure I could talk him into coming on and so forth, and doing an interview with us and so forth. I'm sure I could talk to him about it. So yeah, I'll probably see him next week when practice starts. So oh, and two pair. What about this real quick? Offensive line, always big deal to have, your guys up front, and it starts up front on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Even though the defensive line does bring back DeRoche and a group of talented players that are unproven, the offensive line, we lose Britton Carver, we lose Whitesell, but you're still bringing back 4 of the 6 guys that were in that rotation. Steven Johnson, Deshaun Battle, Brody McFalls, and Jack Codavilla. So, I mean, you still got 4 guys that are going to be the dude, and I don't know who's going to be the 5th guy at offensive line, but they got some big old boys that they
They,
were excited about.
they,
One of them is 5'11", 300 pounds, David Mabane. And then there's Malachi Jameson, 6 foot, 260 pounds. And these are sophomores that were going to be juniors this upcoming year. And then also Caden Colbert, 5'11", 290 pounds, that plays both defensive line and offensive line. And he was one of the dudes that was also a freshman playing varsity ball, just to let you know. So he's going to be a sophomore.
5'11", 290.
290, and he was playing O-line, D-line. Obviously played freshman football, but he was, on the varsity. I mean, he was listed on varsity, and that's something special to be a freshman on the varsity. I mean, the playing time may not have been there, but the fact that you get to dress out on Friday nights, not many guys get to do that as freshmen. So, yeah, you got to be something special. Troy also said, but I bet being a student at a winning school is probably dope. Okay, daydreaming is over. Laugh. It's true. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. You want to know something that's really interesting? They, for whatever reason, the Young Life retreat is the first weekend of the playoffs, and it's so sad, that first playoff game, because West is usually hosting and will be playing some team from Bristol, and the game's running clock. I mean, it's done. But West really depends on that playoff money for that first round game, and the students aren't there. I mean, and it looks really empty and almost spoiled for that first round game that West is playing. So that's kind of always been interesting, because a lot of those students that support the team and go to the games, they're at the Young Life retreat, and so forth. So, yeah.
Okay, you know who I was also checking out? You said David Mebane. So
Yeah.
I think Mebane might extra step this year.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, there's another guy.
Jack, I like
Oh,
Jack.
there's another kid, Oliver Schmel, 6'2", 251. By the
Mm,
way, he was a sophomore that played last year, not on varsity but on JV, and he's probably going to be in the mix as well for that fifth spot. I mean, that's a big kid, 6'2", 251 there at offensive line. So yeah.
and look, this is looking like it's gonna come together. I'm interested in seeing what Cameron Legg is gonna look like this year.
Yeah, yeah, and he was doing really well too. Pair, he got nicked up in the Farragut game early on, and tried to dress out and go, and had a brace on, but being defensive line, you just need your knees, you need to get low, and it just didn't work out. So I'm hoping he can stay healthy this year, because that kid was such a difference maker, because he came in to spell DeRoche or CJ Smith, and when you didn't have him, then you go to Joey Wilson, who, a little undersized guy at 5'10", 200 pounds, but that was almost like Doug Gwynn. Like, he was like the Doug Gwynn that would come in and so forth like that. That's what Joey Wilson reminded me of, who's graduating. So, yeah. Yeah, Troy Smith goes, man, I'm a Young Life supporter, but bump Young Life during the playoffs. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I mean, can't that be like in mid-October? I mean, they could have the homecoming game a couple weeks before. Just do a throwaway game or something that weekend if we can, like playing Heritage or someone like that.
Yeah, man, like Young Life wasn't gonna overtake me playing basketball at West or football. Like, nah.
Yeah. Well, and
Nah.
you don't see the football players going. You know what I mean? Like, unless they leave after the game. I don't know how that works, but you don't see those dudes missing Friday night to go and so forth. But it is what it is. So, yeah. I guess our guys fell short by 1 point, didn't they? So, got to earn it the hard way again. So, shoot. Uh, um,
It's a tough one.
yeah, yeah. Another name that I wanted to throw out there, Messiah Wren, by the way. Look for him at running back. I just love Tavion Ray being the Thunder, and I like Messiah Wren being the Lightning. And those two guys, and I'm sure that there's going to be some other guys that emerge at running back. There's a kid, I don't know his name, but he's in eighth grade right now that will be a freshman. I get Tommy Winton vibes from him, by the way. That could be a guy that they might get some burn if he's as special as they say he is. I'll have to get his name, but he was their whole team at the eighth grade level last year, from what I understand. So, yeah. So Troy wants to know what we're all looking at. We were watching the NBA playoff play-in game or what have you. Didn't go our way, so
glued over here, like, come on, Miami.
yeah, they fell short tonight.
I'm
so
looking at lineups and I'm going, okay.
They just collapsed in that last 3 minutes. I mean, I don't know what the heck happened there. So
Messiah.
And if I'm going to bet, they're probably going to play the Bulls on Friday night to get that spot against who is the 1 seed in the East? Is it the Bucks? No, it's not. No, it's the Celtics. It's Boston. Oh my gosh, yeah,
that's tough.
Yeah, that is going to be tough.
That's you know about that.
Yeah, you all are acting like you all had some parlays on the. No, I know better than that in NBA.
Nah, we not Jonte Porter.
Hey, can we talk about that? He's the Pete Rose, but he wasn't as talented as Pete Rose, but he just got a lifetime ban in NBA.
Like,
congratulations.
Why would you want to be known in history as the guy that got the lifetime ban? Why would you want to be on the bad side of history?
Horrible.
That's a horrible side of history.
Horrible.
And on
the Raptors and on the Toronto Raptors. I mean, just another thing about Toronto. I mean, oh my goodness. So, yeah. They did win that one title that 1 year, didn't they? They won title, and Drake celebrated and all that with them and so forth. Drake went from a Miami Heat fan to back to his home roots of Degrassi in Toronto. So, yeah.
Wheelchair Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hey, I love Drake though. He's really done excited the rap game again. He don't miss. He don't miss.
He don't. Hey, Michael Lynn wrote he bet against his own team. How crazy, talking about our boy from the Raptors there. Look at that. So, oh my God. Troy, I'm gonna tell you this. I think it's next week, brother. I think it's next week. No. This is still the one from last year. The new ring, I believe, will be given next week. I don't have any intel. I've not been told. But if they follow last year they wanted the boys to have their bling before they went to the prom. Well, prom is next Saturday, the 26th. So if it lines up, it might be next Wednesday. I'll have the ring, and you all will be the first to see it unveiled. I promise you that, and so forth. And it will be next to its brother right here. So that's where I have it sized for. So, yes. Yeah. So I'm excited. So, yeah.
Man, this one I knew I became an ill rapper when I had a high school ask me, will I perform at their prom?
Like DJ it and everything?
Rap.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I said, yo. I said, so this is what the big rappers feel like. They gotta like, hey, yeah, it might be a new lucrative.
Brother, I think when they hand you a mic, you just need to roll with it, honestly. Whether it's a sporting event like an Austin East baseball game randomly, or you roll with it, brother. Honestly, I would. Shoot, I wouldn't even hesitate. So.
Yeah, they've been on the road for a long time. Yeah, they've been on.
I guess he's talking about that brother won't be able to go to Kroger without security. Oh, so good.
He was.
It's true. It's true.
Hey, like he threw his career away for $21,000.
What is the league minimum two pair? Like if you're like a two-way player doing nothing, so yeah.
He's making like 2 million. He's making like 2 million, and this fool, this is bad. It's really bad.
Like Joe Budden.
Oh man, but not my boy BT. Oh man,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm podcasting like him. Nah, I'm not podcasting like Joe Budden. I'm 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 at a lower level, man. Uh,
Yeah.
I ain't there yet. Not there yet. Very close, but not there yet.
Two pair. I wanted to ask you something. I think it would be dope if we almost did like an after show of the spring game or something on that Friday, May the 10th. That'd be pretty dope at Gibbs High School or something like that. So
May
not
10th.
impossible. It's not impossible. Friday, May 10th, and I bet that scrimmage would be at 6:30, 6:30 on a Friday night. So 6 or 6:30. So
May
yeah.
10th is doable.
They went 2 hours. They went 2 hours when they scrimmaged Science Hill at Carson Newman. The game got moved, but it's going to
Mm,
be at Gibbs's new stadium, so which is kind of cool. So yeah.
okay.
Oh, meaning all retired rappers now have a podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 It seems like everybody's podcasting. The two NBA players that you were referencing, obviously I guess who's the most famous podcast right now? Is it Joe Rogan from UFC with his thing? I mean, Fair or whatever. He's got more political stuff
The
going on. Or
pivot's pretty
whatever.
pivot's pretty good. My ex
Yeah,
in um Knuckleheads with Q and Darius Smiles, Quentin Richardson. Um there's all the smoke, Jack and Matt Barnes. Like I loved Matt Barnes' game back at UCLA, man, when he was running with BD. Like Matt Barnes can hoop, man. He was just
he had a career. He had a career. Shoot, so it's a lot more than what some guys can say. So
oh man.
yeah. Michael Lynn wants it live from the game. Come on, that's what he wants the show live from the game. Come on, so that'd be pretty dope. I'd have to get a camera to set it up and us be on commentary. It'd be pretty sweet if I could figure that out and so forth.
I,
But truth be told, you'd have to watch my language during the whole thing because I say things under my breath and they have to like always watch me in the press box at the West games. They like press box be quiet. So.
hey, I would love to do the play-by-play for
I'd
what.
love to. I still would love for us to go rewatch the West Championship game, this last one, and you know do the color play by play, whichever one of us, just to see how we would have called that game if I had the rosters in front of us and everything like that. So mute those guys and us call it. That would be amazing from the Rebels with a cause Homer perspective. So yeah. So yeah. Michael Lynn says the New Heights best podcast right now. Okay. Joe Budden regarding rappers not talking about the white guys left. And then Shane agrees that it stumped us, that comment. So at Michael, that would be perfect. And BT already has the plug. Look at that. Look at him. You got him blushing over here. So hey, two pair. To move on to the NBA and so forth. What are the matchups looking like? I mean, obviously, Sacramento and the Zion-less Pelicans tomorrow night or Friday night. I think the Kings should win that one pretty easily without the Pelicans not having Zion or Brandon Ingram. McCollum
Yeah,
can't do it by himself. So
they.
yeah,
I think they finally got past that hump of the Golden State Warriors. They put that to rest
they
and
beat the hell out of them last night. They beat the hell out of them.
spanked them.
Yeah.
The Warriors, Klay Thompson, he stinked. He like I love Klay, but damn man,
He
watching.
lost a step.
It's like watching one of your favorite players just struggle, and you thinking to yourself, this can't be happening. Like this, bro. It was one of them nights, and that's only happened 2 times out of 941 times. I think that's a hell of an average.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, and the Kings have been building for this
That's
for a
only
while.
happened twice.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Do you think that's a testament to the Kings? I mean, they've been building for this for a while. This they draft. I mean, they've done some free agents and trades. I mean, it's been a minute, and I think that it's gonna culminate Friday night. That oh, and then the reward is who's the 1 seed in the West? It's not the Nuggets. It's Minnesota, right? So Minnesota has also it's taken them a minute to get to that. To get to that level with Carl Anthony Towns and all those guys with their draft picks and stuff. So, yeah.
let me pull it up. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
to.
I'd like to see some of these matchups, and even if the Heat beat the Bulls or the Hawks, man, Celtics, God, that's going to be tough for the Heat to overcome. And the Celtics are going to want some revenge after what happened in last year's playoffs. I'm sure Tatum and those guys.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, we've got the Magic in Cleveland, and the thing I like about this matchup, just from my perspective, I feel like Paulo could be the best player in that series.
yep.
If he's the best player in that series, he could take over that series.
Hmm.
I, I
I like that Magic team, man. You talk about some young dudes. I mean, they've got a great, and they go deep too. They play easily 10 or 11 guys, honestly, and of
yeah,
course Paulo is their dude, but they've got a lot of young talent on that team, and they're fun to watch. And they've quietly gotten into that position, two pair. They've done enough to win, and they're there, and they could be a dark horse in the playoffs if Paulo, you know, really becomes the player that everybody really, has seen him be, and he really has lived up to that number one pick. So,
yeah. I would really like to see this. I like to see this matchup because Cleveland, like this, you gotta win this series. Like
mhm,
lose to those young dudes.
yeah,
If they lose to those young dudes, that's where you see a lot of people lose a job in Cleveland.
hmm,
Cleveland loses that series because Cleveland got
yeah,
bounced by New York last year.
that's right, that's
Early,
right.
like they didn't even have a first round.
No, they were gone. They
They
were gone.
gone out of there. Dominoes.
As they like to say, gone fishing. They went fishing. So they casted and they were done. So yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you this, two pair. I posed this question. Is this going to be the Nuggets Invitational like the Yukon men's team was for the I mean we've had this back to back theme, and the Nuggets would be the team to possibly carry that mantra, but they're a 2 seed, and they've got the Lakers in the first round. Are the Lakers going to be any type of challenge, or are the Nuggets going to send them fishing?
I think this is the time where we're gonna really see where matchups are very key. Like we really gonna see it because every time Anthony Davis sees Joker, it just like Joker just shows he's the best player in the world against him. And
Kryptonite.
LeBron, LeBron is at this is like he 39, no No, he should be 40 this year, right? Oh no, he's turning.
Yeah, he's going to be 40 because he's your age. He's 2003. He's class of 2003. So yeah,
Yeah. So to be doing it at this age, like that wear and tear, that turnaround is gonna be crazy.
Shane's got a question for you. What's your thoughts on Bronny James declaring for the draft?
As far as like basketball IQ and being able to play defense, yeah, like he can fit into any type of NBA system. It's just if he's not within if he's not projected 10, I'm like he needs to go ahead and go do Duquesne. But he has the NBA IQ because he knows how to play winning basketball. That like he almost died, you
Yeah.
know. Like we gotta put that in our
Yeah, I
sight.
mean his health. I mean that's
Talent,
the thing. I mean we've seen health end a lot of players' careers, and so forth.
yeah,
Unfortunately, so and I don't want to see anybody die on the court. Jesus.
yeah.
So
Because the numbers are the numbers. Like it is what it is. But when it comes to playing winning basketball, um, I think that's important because he has a high IQ. He just he's coming off that, and given that a lot of this does favor who his father is. You know what I mean? If this was Bronny Smith, we're not having the same conversation. If this
mhm.
Freeman, we're not having this conversation. If this was Bronny Tate, we're not having the conversation. Because it is LeBron James' son, there is a bigger scope on this kid to where LeBron is just want his son to be his son, but this is what comes with being LeBron James' son.
Mhm.
That's what comes with it. You're gonna be looked at to be a savior to a team, and really, we didn't get to really see that at USC. We just got to see the player that could make winning basketball plays when given the opportunity. Just wasn't scoring at a high.
I was going to ask you this too, Pair, about that situation. Um, the kid also has the unfortunateness that he's got a younger sibling that's more talented than him, that's bigger, and so forth. And I think it's that son of LeBron that could be, very, very talented. Not saying Bronny's not. It's almost like the Lonzo Ball, LaMelo Ball situation, even though their father's not anything, like LeBron, obviously. But that's always tough that when the younger sibling's already looked at when the older sibling is the one that is right there too that he's facing. Not making excuses, just saying. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Man, stop. If he wasn't LeBron's son, we wouldn't be talking about my guy. More power to him, but we do know that the game is much faster than college, so his heart condition could be an issue. And there's 82 games. It's not 30 to 39, depending on how far you get in the tournament. We're talking about 82 games plus a preseason and all sorts of stuff. I don't know. I mean, shoot. Yeah.
The real grind. The real grind.
Yeah.
We're talking about the real grind. Like that's a grind.
Yeah.
That is a grind that you do not want. Like if you're not ready for it, because how you gonna play on the back to back? You can't be load management
Hmm.
at this point.
And a lot of travel too. Like a lot of those, like you might be in Philadelphia one night and you're in Boston the next night. That's still air travel and all that. Your body's got to get used to that. You've got to find ways to stay conditioned and everything like that. Food, nutrition, all that. I mean, I know they got people on those teams, but there's some downtime that you got to take care of business too, and be in the best shape of your life to do this. So yeah.
Yeah, locked in. Got to be locked in.
Let me ask you this too, Per, and do you see if Michael? I want to go back to Michael's comment. He had a really good point, and his dad talking about LeBron already trying to pick his team, starting to see this a lot of pull a la Eli. When the Chargers had that number one pick, and they really wanted Eli, and they did the ceremony only to trade for Philip Rivers, and he went to the Giants. And obviously, we're talking Eli was very talented, Not saying Bronny's not, but let's just be real. Bronny's not going to be the number one pick. I guess my question is there a team that you think would possibly even entertain LeBron's dream of playing with his son on the same team? Like, would you waste, if you're a GM, would you waste a draft pick on Bronny, knowing that LeBron would go there because I think he's a free agent this summer. I'm not sure how that works or what have you. But what say you in that regard if I pose that
I
scenario?
mean, how crazy, how crazy would this be if Bronny James got drafted by like Detroit or San Antonio?
Oh, well, San Antonio, that would be incredible. So, oh, shoot. Yeah. I mean, LeBron to go play with Wembayama or whatever just for a year, kind of like him now being Shaq in terms of with the young guy. I don't know that's intriguing. I don't know if Popovich would go for that. He kind of rules the roost down there in San Antonio. That would be a cliche of egos right there. Not that they're earned, but I don't know.
How crazy is those scenarios though, as a sports fan? Just
Mhm.
like how crazy are those scenarios if that were to happen? Or what if Bronny was what if Mark Cuban just drafted Bronny to play in Dallas?
Kyrie and LeBron would have to kiss and make up. They would. So I mean, they would. So hey, Lynn even brings this up. Switching a little to college football, Dion trying it as well with Shador and the Falcons. I saw that story today. I couldn't believe
I
that.
posted that story today.
Uh,
Man,
the Falcons are trying to exorcise the demons of that Super Bowl that happened when they blew the lead to the Patriots. What more bad juju do you want to give these poor cats in that beautiful stadium down there in Hotlanta?
this
So, yeah.
man, this ticks me off just thinking about
Troy, Troy has a good point here. Regardless of his IQ, I wouldn't think he's NBA ready based off of the numbers. Lynn mentioned he averaged 4.8, but hey, I barely played freshman basketball in high school, so I have no room to talk about. Well, but something, Troy. At least you're honest with yourself. I mean, if you were the son of a great basketball player, but your sport was football, then hey, the athletics. I mean, look at Vernon Carey's son. He played basketball, and yet he was a player for the Dolphins for a long time, and so forth. And he's now playing overseas, but but I think that's kind of intriguing that the athletics just were in a different sport. Not to just have to follow in the father's footsteps. And let's be real. I know a lot of people have their opinions about LeBron and everything of that nature, but the thing is it'd be hard for anybody to follow in those shoes, just like it was Michael Jordan's sons. Honestly, he even said in his Hall of Fame speech, I feel sorry for my sons, honestly. So
yeah, man, it's just like, dude, if it wasn't LeBron James, we wouldn't look at this kid like that. I mean,
the Lakers will pick him up as a free agent at the least. Look at the Bucks. Laugh out loud. That's true. Hey, you know what? I'm glad Troy brought up the Bucks or whatever. What about them trading the coach they had for Doc Rivers? And that has been a complete waste of time. I mean, and
how
then
does how does
yeah,
a guy how does a guy that's 30-13 lose his job to a guy that finished under 500?
yeah, who's not done anything? I mean, like realistically, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Shane's theory: Cleveland signs Bronny. Braun retires a Cav after one season with Bronny. I could see that. Does Dan Gilbert still own the Cavs by any chance? So I don't know. How wild would it be for a dad and son on the same team? Laugh out loud. It would be. I mean, and props to LeBron that he's taken care of his body. He really has not had a major injury, which has really hurt a lot of people in any sport over the years. His body has held up. That he's been around to play enough, and the fact that his son could make a roster. I
Right.
mean, it's not impossible. So it's very unlikely. But the fact that he really wants this dream to come true, more power to him, honestly. So
More
yeah.
power to that.
Troy, Jordan's son's following in Pippen's shoes. Yeah, yeah. That gets a W. That gets a W from me up, man. That is a W after a touchdown right there. So oh, I love it. Oh, that's so good. We got every time Troy Smith is on Rebels with a Cause, it's always Rebels with a Cause after midnight. It always is. Oh, yeah, after dark. So yeah. LeBron got the best PEDs money can buy. Larry Frank, how are you, sir? Good to have you on the show. Thank you for participating. So yeah. Hey, guess what? If your Bulls win, our Heat and Bulls can play to be the winner or the loser to play the Celtics in the first round. It looks like so.
Yay!
Jason Tatum and Brown's, you know what? So yeah, but man. Let's see here. Filling more than his shoes. Yeah, he sure is, Michael Lynn. He's not folding or he's not pulling out like that couch. That's all I'm going to say. So, yeah. But again, second year in a row, Bulls and Heat in the play-in. Yeah. I mean, and I just don't think that the Celtics are a one seed that will fall like the Bucks did last year. So I just don't see it. So yeah. Another matchup I was intrigued with are Stephen A. Smith's Knicks. They're going to play the 76ers because the Sixers won tonight. Are the Knicks good? Like, they made that trade, and are they a legit two seed, or is this going to be another Stephen A. Smith talking into the camera, hating on all the Knick players again, like he does every year when they lose and get sent home fishing? Because I don't know much about the Knicks. So
The Knicks, you got Brunson. I will say, Brunson has been a problem this year, though. He has, but he won't be having Julius Randle. You losing a guy that's a 20-point scorer in the game, where when the game slows down a little bit and you need a basket inside, you won't have that guy. So New York's intriguing. I really like the way they've played since they made the trades, though. So they made some great trade. They made a great trade.
They did. They did. I got a question for everybody in the chat box. Who's your pick to win it all? Do you have a favorite NBA team? Are they in it? Is there certain players that you like that you really are excited to see in these playoffs? Put them out there so I can put them up on the screen. I definitely want to hear everybody's thoughts on these NBA playoffs and so forth. And I'd like to, kind of go round robin and see, those matchups and everything. So for sure. Larry, this here, Troy writes, man, the Knicks going home like every season. I could see it. I mean, the Sixers, they could beat them or whatever. I was kind of hoping the Heat would win tonight and get that 7 seed and knock out the Knicks for the second straight year for Stephen A. Smith. So yeah. Larry Frank's got Boston versus Denver and the Nuggets repeat. Like I said, Larry, I've been going on this back-to-back theme for a while, man. I really, really have, and that the Nuggets are my pick until somebody shows they can beat the Joker in that group. I think that they are in play to go back-to-back for sure. So Troy likes the Jazz. Yep. They had some. They didn't make the playoffs this year, did they? Two pair, they didn't. I don't think they did. So yeah, I don't know if they did or not. So yeah.
Come on, Troy. The Jazz ain't made the goddamn go playoffs.
Oh wait, he said I meant the Nuggets. He didn't put the he knows he did an error. So okay, gotcha. Yeah. Michael Lynn says healthy Embiid changes the 76ers for sure. Yeah, I mean, that guy just he just cannot stay healthy, unfortunately, Embiid. I mean, he has been really the class of that draft when so many people really were all about Jabari Parker and Andrew Wiggins. It really has been Joel Embiid from that draft. I just think about guys that stood out in their certain draft classes or whatever and so forth. So, yeah. For sure. So, Michael's got a great question. Who beats the Nuggets, if anybody? I mean, OKC. Does OKC got the team to do it? Those young bucks, or what? No, even though they're
Uh,
Thunder, but yeah.
I like Dallas has been playing some really good basketball. Dallas has been playing some really good
We
basketball.
talked about Kyrie playoffs. Kyrie Irving playoffs is
Yeah,
dangerous. A bad
yeah,
dude. So.
yeah, but it's that matchup. I like LA when PG and Kawhi are healthy.
Yeah.
When it's like them two, plus you got Russ, and then it's like James Harden, bro.
I mean, can I just say this about that team? Is it
Like
now? Is it ever going to happen? Is it now? It's got to be now. There is no tomorrow when it comes to the Clippers at this point. I mean, these guys ain't get. I mean, we've been waiting for the PG Kawhi show for how long now, and it just has not materialized, unfortunately.
if PG and Kawhi do it, it's gonna be with the coach and the Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue is a hell of a basketball coach, but
Troy writes, "Man, Embiid going to have another meme crying. There's no telling. You're either going to have a meme him crying, or Stephen A. Smith with a meme crying, or something like that."
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Larry Frank, can we finally proclaim that the Warriors are finished? I think they're done. I think it's done.
Do we think they're done?
Yeah. I mean, well, let me ask you this: who stays? I mean, is Steph going to be a Warrior for life, or is he going to go somewhere? Like,
I,
what are we talking about here?
they,
Yeah.
they they wouldn't get rid of. They never would get rid of Steph. No.
Troy writes, James Harden's going to sabotage them like he does every team. If he sings like that commercial him and Steph Curry did when he was singing in the microphone that one year. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. We will see what happens with old James Harden these playoffs. I mean, yeah, he hadn't done much.
No.
Draymond and Clay are gone. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I think Draymond is. I feel like this. It's run its course, and I mean it's hell. They had a hell of a run.
they did. What
Hell
was
of
it? 3 titles or what have you in that span, or four,
four,
something like that.
four.
So I know it wasn't. I know it wasn't in a row, but still,
Yeah.
man, the dude tried to block his own player shot. He did. He really did. So, hey, I got a question for you. What team wants to put up with the headache known as Draymond Green? Do the Detroit Pistons want him there so he can come home back to Michigan? So, honestly, I mean,
Wow,
shoot.
that would be tough.
That's like dysfunction Detroit right there.
That would be tough.
Yeah, yeah, 4 titles in 8 years. Thank you, Troy. Yep, that's the one. So, trade Draymond for Diddy. No one will want to play them. Warriors 82. Hey, by the way, did Larry? You shared this. Was that thing real that Diddy messed around with Carl Winslow from Family Matters, Villel Johnson, or whatever? Was that real, or was that just a phony thing you put in that chat room I saw earlier today? By the way, that cannot be true. That my boy from Die Hard and Family Matters got messed up by Diddy. Are you serious? So that cannot be real. I'm waiting for Larry Frank goes, yes, it's all over the internet. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Oh God. Oh, Reginald Johnson. What in the world happened there? Oh my goodness. So, wow. Oh, did he? Oh, did he? So, yeah. Incredible. Incredible. So, yeah. Well, You heard it here. That was real. Yep. I will never be able to watch an old episode of Family Matters ever again. So yeah. I heard that as well. Diddy has to be tweaking to hit Family Matters dad. Maybe he just likes them festively plump. I don't know. So I mean, yeah, he's a chubby chaser. What can I say? So yeah. Yeah, someone allegedly walked in on Diddy didderizing Carl Winslow. Oh my God! So, oh Lord, oh Lord, wow. Hey, maybe that's why that the youngest Winslow child disappeared off the set. Remember, she was played by Jamie Foxworth, or I think that was her name. She was the youngest Winslow daughter, and they just wrote her out, and nobody knows whatever happened to her. We can blame Diddy for that one. Maybe that's where that child went. So shoot.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh, after Diddy finished, he asked, "Did I do that?" Oh my God, Larry.
All right, guys, we had a great show tonight, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Hey, thanks for everybody participating at this point. So yeah,
Thanks, guys.
yeah, for sure. So no, but for real, I think two pair, you got to get going and so forth. So, but here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a show next Wednesday, and hopefully, I'll have some stuff to report from the spring practice, the first couple spring practices, and we'll go from there. And I'll let you finish the show up. And remember, guys, we always end it with the W being thrown up. It's all about these West Rebels and going for this three-peat and making 5A history. First team to win 3 in a row. But two pair, end it, baby.
Hey, man, y'all know what it is. Rebels with a cause. We love all y'all. We love a piece of chicken grease, and they don't step on them shoes. We out.
We out. Go Rebels.